Now, in the United States, crypto regulation remains in focus. The Senate delays action on the landmark Clarity Act, and the legislation seeks to establish clearer rules for digital assets and define the roles of key financial regulators. The debate now continues as lawmakers prepare for the next stage, and that is in the United States. It's been moved to September, talking about that clarity bill. And then Russia is putting a formal framework around cryptocurrency trading. It's a new law establishing rules for exchanges, brokers, and other crypto businesses, while the country maintains restrictions on using digital assets as payment for goods and services. The move marks a significant step in Russia's cryptocurrency. So there you have it. Everybody's talking about regulation, and of course the government would like to regulate and earn revenue from all of that. So that's it. Let's see the price at this time, and then we see Bitcoin is down 0.04% at 64,912.6. Ethereum well improved a bit from the usual 1,800, but it's down 1,912.98, and a lot of reds we see. I hear Mr. Ademese is able to join us now. Mr. Ademese, can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly, Ine. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, it's so sad that we weren't able to connect with you earlier. Mr. Ademese is the Managing Consultant and Chief Executive Officer of Flame Academy and Consulting Limited. So, Mr. Ademese, we're trying to connect what has been happening in the oil space and what has been happening to oil companies, such as O&O and all of that. Do we see trickle gains from the global oil space to the companies?
Oh, sure. Within the past 6 months, the oil price have been dancing up and down, but on the average, it has maintained an uptick position, and the upstream companies have been gaining a lot from that. In fact, recently, even countries like India are now diverted to Nigeria to come and lift some crude oil to support the limited supply they have from other countries. So yes, it's working for O&O, it's working for Aradel, and the full benefit of this will continue to happen for the rest of the year, I see, because the battle over the Strait of Hormuz is not yet abating, even though we hope that things are resolved amicably sooner than later. But for oil companies in Nigeria like O&O, the benefit is coming to them with a very positive price outlook for them.
Yeah, but Mr. Ademese, we also noticed that while the revenue has increased very much, in many cases, when we get to profit after tax, a lot of that revenue has been cut off. So beyond the financial statements, what's the reality and the health really of these companies?
Okay, if you look at one of those, can you hear me well?
I can hear you, Mr. Ademese. Please go ahead.
Okay, so if you look at their results, you find that there's a significant improvement in the company's results, in the sense that productivity is increasing, showing that the company is able to use the assets they acquire from now effectively in ramping up production across all products, crude oil, gas, and natural gas, liquids. They are all growing, to 42,000 per day, compared to where they want to be in the medium term, up to 100,000. So it's a very good development, and you see that the revenue, cash flow, profitability are all, improving. Even though that the company is still paying a lot in terms of debt servicing, which affects their profitability somehow. But at the end of the day, the story of O&O is that of improving capacity, to use the assets acquired from now to ramp up production. And if that continues, you will see growing revenue that will end up helping them service their debt and have much return to investors.
But is this growing revenue also accompanied by growing financial costs?
Well, the financial cost, the company has been trying to manage their costs effectively. Cost is being optimized, risk is being well managed, security is done better around Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Odemezwe. Please go ahead.
Okay, trying to manage discussion I have here. Okay, so when you look at Owando's story, you have to look at what happened in the past 2 years after they acquired the asset. Can you hear me, Ini?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. Okay. So the story of Owando is that of a company that took a bold step to move away from just oil downstream trading to upstream activity, which is a very significant step for an African company, an indigenous company, going up to the upstream business and having bought those assets, wellhead, pipeline assets, loading bay, and all of those. The challenge for them was, will the management be able to execute and deploy these assets to higher productivity? And the answer the Owando is giving today is yes, that they are doing that. You find that the company is able to, grow their production across all lines and even at a very optimized pricing. Now the impact is yet to show, but if you give a few more months, in the medium to long term, you find that Owando will begin to, follow the path of their contemporaries in industry, and you find that the benefit to investors will be very massive, in the medium to long term. So it's a stock that people who have insight, will, take a bet, on and see how the value creation will ramp up. It's already happening. They are securing their asset better. They are producing, at less cost per.
But Mr. Odemezwe, what about what's going on in the global space, the Strait of Hormuz? That also fits into, their production, their revenue, and all.
Owando's future lies, a lot on the supportive pricing of, crude oil. And if you look at Strait of Hormuz issues, even if it's resolved closely, there are still challenges around, the Middle East and even the Ukraine-Russia war. You find that with the drone attacks on several oil facilities in Russia and also in the Middle East, it will take the prices begin to normalize. So in the medium term, Owando is well favored to leverage the situation to ramp up their profitability even as their production.
All right, Mr. Odemezwe.
That is.
Thank God we're able to go to you in spite of all the challenges, Mr. Odemezwe, Chief Executive Officer of Flame Academy. Thank you for still trying to join in the program. We appreciate your time. All right.